So if you are a James Harden fan tonight, you can proudly hang your hat on the fact that he is now 7th all-time in terms of all-time leaders for NBA playoffs. Free throws made, 12,014 at the time of recording this video. The game is not over, but the game is over between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks. But today we're going to be talking about James Harden and why, unfortunately, he is the most predictable superstar in NBA history for all of the wrong reasons. Allow me to explain. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BoxInOne, a basketball podcast and sports content creation platform created by roischand and Joachim, myself talking right now. This is bad. This is really bad for the legacy of James Harden. This is really bad for James Harden FC. The Cleveland Cavaliers move when they swapped Darius Garland for James Harden was supposed to be, all right, James is back in the East. This is finally a chance for him to play with an elite #1 guard in Donovan Mitchell. They've got Mobley and Allen. They've got the bigs. They've got the talent. This is where we do it. This is your time, James. This is not your time. And the thing that really sucks about this is that time and time again, James Harden continues to do this in the NBA playoffs. I don't want to say he hasn't had good runs. Before the hamstring injury, he was playing amazing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But to be quite fair, as a third option, I think most NBA players probably could have filled that role with James Harden's caliber of skill. They didn't need James Harden to be that third guy facilitating. It was just a great luxury to have James Harden be the third guy facilitating. Then you had the 2019 playoff run, specifically the series against the Golden State Warriors, which was actually a really good James Harden playoff performance, almost averaging 30 points per game in that series on good efficiency. The only thing is Stephen Curry is inevitable. He went nuclear in that game 6. So James Harden has had moments of being elite in the playoffs. I'm not saying that James Harden is a complete playoff dropper, but there's too many moments like this in elimination games where he does this time and time again. Philadelphia, when Joel Embiid was getting torched, where was James Harden? 9 points. When the Los Angeles Clippers were getting torched in Denver by Russell Westbrook, where was James Harden? Nowhere to be found. Even in Game 7 against the Detroit Pistons, James Harden went for like 9, 3, and 3, but Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen and Evan Mobley played out of their minds to the point that the Harden stinker in that elimination game was erased from our minds because Uno was back in the conference finals. Now you're back in the conference finals, and this is what you're averaging. At the time of recording this video, again, the averages are subject to change because the game is not over. 17.3 points, 5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 1.3 steals, 0.3 blocks, 41% from the floor, 22.7% from 3, 75 from the free throw line, 4 turnovers per game. Tonight, so far, 12, 3, and 2, but he has 4 turnovers, only 2 of 7 from the field. This is, again, another James Harden game, I believe his 47th or 48th game, where he has had more turnovers than field goals made. This is the most predictable superstar in NBA history. Anytime the lights get bright, anytime the pressure is turned up and the play of James Harden is magnified, he shrinks. Every single time. It doesn't matter the jersey, it doesn't matter the number, it doesn't matter the team, it doesn't matter the decade. And granted, I do want to give some grace to James Harden, right? I mean, he's 36 going on 37, no pun intended, but 6'7", right? James Harden is in between Paul George and Kevin Durant. What I mean by that is I feel like a lot of NBA fans, their expectations for these aging superstars from the past decade has been grossly misread just due to the success of the big three, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, and Stephen Curry, all being 37 plus and still being able to give you 23, 24 a night on great efficiency. Guys like Paul George, that's how normal NBA players age once they hit 35, 36. They can still get 15 and a quarter, but for the most part, they're no longer going to be the prime players that we knew them and loved them to be in the 2010s. And James Harden is in between that. He still dropped 55 to start this season against the Charlotte Hornets. He's still giving you triple doubles this season. James Harden still is able to be that guy on occasion, but he's not consistent enough at it like a Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant, or LeBron James specifically, right? Because LeBron is over 40 still doing this, especially what we saw him do in the first round against the Houston Rockets. Absolute masterclass. I digress though. But still, James Harden, even at 36, you're not 29 anymore. You're not a spring chicken. I understand that. But even at 29, you were doing this. You were doing this your entire career. Your last really good playoff run was when you were a 6th man off the bench for the Oklahoma City Thunder. That was 14 years ago. And you are still giving your fans the same exact result. Goes crazy in the regular season from November to March. Oh my goodness, he's better than D-Wade. D-Wade makes some comment about, oh, well, he doesn't have a ring. Oh, that old head is just hating. Well, James Harden, it's different to not have a ring and still be a hooper. I mean, Jerry West is revered as one of the greatest guards of the old guard for the NBA, and he only has one ring, and he got a finals MVP for losing the finals, not winning. But it's another thing to lose and play bad when you lose, and you play abysmally time and time again. You got hunted on defense by Jalen Brunson, and you completely lost your confidence in this series. I think the thing about James Harden, if you make him defend and he's getting fried, he's going to lose his confidence time and time again. That is just something we have noticed watching James Harden in the playoffs for the last few years. But this is embarrassing. You can't put him in D-Wade convos. You can't put him in greatest scorer ever convos. Not saying that he doesn't deserve to be in those conversations. I mean, in our last video about James Harden, I said he was the greatest isolation scorer ever, the greatest combo guard ever. But in the regular season, the entirety of James Harden's legacy is going to be emphasized and asterisked by in the regular season. Because when it comes to the playoffs, this is not the man who was averaging 40. Granted, the Houston Rockets, when they said, hey, go to war with Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, and Ryan Anderson, I can understand losing to the 2018 Warriors. Taking them to 7 is James Harden's best feat. They missed 27 threes, but that is James Harden's best feat, especially not having Chris Paul. His best feat is losing in the most respectable fashion to the God Squad Golden State Warriors. Outside of that, he did absolutely nothing. And then they ran it back the same year in 2019, and again, Steph took his head off. When you look at somebody's career, we have to start being honest. This is not a playoff riser. This is the most obvious playoff dropper in NBA history at his caliber of play. Kyrie has had stinkers in the playoffs. He also had one of the greatest, if not the most clutch shot in NBA history. Steph had stinkers in the playoffs. He's also averaged 37 in a sweep. Every great guard who has had a stinker has had a series that followed after where it was like, wow, okay, that was just a bad moment for you. You learned, and now you're able to implement your game at a high level. But James Harden has not done that once. He has not once had a series where he dominated and we said, wow, that is the Uno we know. He'll have a game. He'll have a game 3 in Detroit where it'll be like, oh yeah, what noise? Ever since James Harden said, what noise? He has not played good. You have not been making any noise on the court after you tried to act like you didn't hear Twitter calling you the leader of the Taliban. I don't even know if you're a leader of a terrorist group. Terrorists, for better or worse, most of the time worse, they have some sort of impact. What impact do you have on the game, James? What do you do? When the lights are the brightest and they need you to be a second or first option, what do you do consistently for a series? And it's getting to a point of somebody who is a fan of James Harden, who wanted to see him win a ring this year. It's hard to root for this anymore because he doesn't even play like he wants to win. He plays like he's already thinking about the Cancun trip with Lil Baby and what songs that he's gonna hear. It's just abysmal, man. Now, before I wrap up, I do want to mention that the New York Knicks made a great adjustment keeping Mikal Bridges on James Harden, so I understand for this particular series why he didn't have the best play. Also, going back to the Detroit Pistons series, I understand Asar Thompson is on you. He's a hard guy to score on. That is excusable for a 36-year-old James Harden in a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey that has nothing to do with the wide open shots that he missed routinely in the series. Again, only 22.6% from 3, and that also has nothing to do with the history of doing this time and time again. I ask James Harden fans, I ask James Harden, what do you do when the lights are the brightest? Because again, it seems like you do nothing. And real quick, now that the game is over, James Harden finished with 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 0 of 6 from 3, 2 of 8 from the field, 8 of 9 from the free throw line, 5 turnovers. So again, another game where he finishes with more turnovers than field goals made. Come on, man. You cannot defend this any longer. With that being said, though, guys, that is going to do it for us today. The New York Knicks are going to the NBA Finals, and there's going to be more on the channel tomorrow about that, as well as a Cleveland Cavaliers rant this weekend coming from our very own Roischand, who is a Cavs fan. Again, as always, if you enjoyed the content, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow all of these socials in the description, and we will see you all in the next one.